Hey everyone, welcome back for another episode in Adventures of Comprehension. So tonight we're going to talk about 5 different reasons why you may not be as excited to teach reading as you should be. And then for each one, we're going to identify how to hopefully make that a little bit better or steps towards making it better. Let's jump into reason number 1, why you may not be excited to teach reading. And number 1 reason is there's too much gray area. So reading is not a step-by-step process. It's not a black and white concept like math is. You could put any skill or strategy in that blank right there, and there'd be 20-some factors that could affect the outcome or how to find the outcome of that skill, right? It's just not simple. So that gray area there, that absolutely could be a reason why you feel you're just not there when it comes to the happiness level you wish you would be when teaching reading. So how do we get past this? One of the best things that teachers can do for themselves is to understand their craft, understand their standards fully. But it's really important too to make sure that you're not just looking and understanding the standards in your grade, but you're also understanding the standards in the grade above you and the grade below you. You kind of want to sandwich everything in. That way you know where students are coming from, kind of what to expect when you get them, and then you know where they're going so you know how to prepare them for the future. One thing you can do, and this is definitely not an independent type activity. This is a find your teacher besties for a wine night, or better yet, make your administration do this with the teachers as professional development, because it should be being done anyways. And that is to decompose your standards individually. Deconstructing or decomposing those standards basically means that you're breaking them down. You're looking at prerequisites. You're looking at all of the different components. You're looking at all the vocabulary terms within the standard itself. Just tons of little pieces. Help break it down and make sure you fully understand that standard. This is how we get past that gray area. And the best thing you could do too is to focus on your critical standards first. Look at your State Department of Education. They should have identified critical standards for you. Start with those and then work backwards. Focusing on your critical standards and decomposing them or deconstructing them means that you will understand the more important ones first and foremost, then you'd get into the other ones a little bit later. All right, let's move on to reason number 2. Reason number 2 of why you may not be excited to teach reading, and that is not having a fluid curriculum. I was doing research yesterday or the day before, and I can't even remember what for, but I again came across even more research that said there is literally no program, not even 𝗦ici𝗰𝗶𝗹, there is no program or curriculum that has ever been made to show success for all students. So here's how you get past this reason why you may not be excited to teach reading. The first thing you're going to want to do is to make sure that you understand the strengths of your curriculum. There are strong points in many curriculums that are out there. So make sure that whether it be through research or through your own utilization in the classroom after year 1 or year 2, look at what your curriculum strengths are. Once you can identify multiple strengths, and by doing that, you're going to start to uncover areas where there are lacking. Now that you found the holes in your curriculum, now we have to fill them. Okay, so now you're going to look at things like phonemic awareness, phonics instruction, vocabulary. Maybe your pacing guide is just completely off. The pacing guide that they recommend in the curriculum doesn't work for you guys. It goes too fast or too slow. Or maybe they're teaching way too much at one time. But there's so much that could be in those holes that you're now going to identify them and try to fill them with either other programs or other support for the teachers. It doesn't have to be a program. It can also be filled with professional development to help teachers understand what they can be doing with the resources that they do have that would benefit their students more. Let's move on. Reason number 3 is too much planning. Well, let's see, you've got your 5 components of reading. Well, you better be teaching fluency, phonemic awareness, phonics, vocabulary, and comprehension. And then you need to make sure that you've got your small group plan, and then your other centers plan, and then your mini lesson plan, and your interactive read alouds for the week planned. And then make sure you've got all your exit tickets and assessments in line. Like, it's a lot. If you feel like too much planning is the reason why you don't like to teach reading, then here are some things that we can do. Okay, so let's fix this. You want to be able to look at what you're given and then find educators that you relate with, that you trust, that you match and mirror in philosophies, and then see what they can provide you. Okay, especially if you're on your own, which unfortunately I know a lot of teachers are. They're given the curriculum and they're like, well, that's what you got, right? And then you're left kind of filling in the holes by yourself. So you don't want to just trust every Joe Schmo resource that's out there. You need to find educators, programs, and resources that match your philosophy, your students' needs, and that help ease that burden of that too much planning. So let's move on. Reason number 4 of why you may not be excited to teach reading: fitting it all in. Okay, so last time we talked about planning too much, but now it's fitting it all in. So they're kind of two different things, kind of connected. So how can we fix this? It starts with planning. So we know before we even meet our students in the beginning of the year, we know what we're getting into. We know the components of reading. We know that we're going to have students who are on level, below, and high. So without even knowing what students we're getting, we can create a plan. So planning out your reading block is kind of like a puzzle, right? You got all these pieces, you gotta fit them all in. So if you're not sure where to begin, I have a fantastic blog post that I would love to share with you. It's all about creating your perfect reading block. I'm not going to go into detail about that blog post because you can read it on your own time. So if you would like the link to that blog post, drop me a comment below and I will send you the link directly. So make sure to check that out. But in that blog post, it goes in an entire process of how you analyze all of the things that you've got on your plate and how to get rid of some, how to find out your non-negotiables, and then how to put everything that is on your plate together in a beautiful format. But this is something that we should be doing at the beginning of every year. It should not be January, February, and we're struggling with our reading block. These are things that we can do, yes, I'm going to say it, in the summer or during those back to school weeks where you're actually in your classroom being paid, but taking the time to make a logical plan of action for yourself. That way you're not 3-4 months in and you're feeling there's too much, I can't fit it all in. We already know what's going to be there. You know what your plate looks like. You know what your students are going to look like. So work on it when you can to make it the best for you. Okay? All right. Reason number 5 why you may not be loving teaching reading right now is that you have students on so many different reading levels. Students are going to come into your classroom and they're going to have completely different backgrounds. They're going to have completely different experiences in reading, and they're going to come at you with all different levels. In reading, in math, in science, it doesn't matter. We're going to have different levels. Let's embrace it, right? Let's just embrace that and let's see what we can do with it. So this is not a reason why you don't like teaching reading, because this one really shouldn't be. Let's try to get this one off the list, okay? All right. So, this, like I said, this should not be a reason why you don't like teaching reading. But remember, it's important that we don't think of our students as levels, right? I've said that before. I know you agree with that. We don't want to think of our students as levels. Instead, we want to think of our students as different reading abilities that they have and they need to improve on. When we start doing that, then we can start grouping our students in more unique ways rather than these are my low-level students, these are my on-level and above level. Instead, I can look at them and say, these students need help with the main idea. These students need help with fluency. These students need help with making inferences. And you're going to find a lot more crossing over in the groups than you really thought there were. So what do? How do we fix this? Well, we started already talking about knowing that we're not going to call them levels or below medium high or below on level high. We're going to call them reading behaviors or reading abilities. Okay, so when we train ourselves to connect with students or with reading behaviors instead of levels, we can move past the complaint that there are too many different levels. So now you have your way of connecting students together. Now you can see who needs what and how you can support them. So you know how to address whole group instruction, right? You know how to provide more scaffolding during whole group instruction and to who needs that. So there are many holes in students' reading abilities can be covered in whole group instruction. You don't need to differentiate every single little thing. That's a huge mistake. Differentiation can be just as bad as it is good. So in your whole group instruction, if you're looking at your students with reading abilities in mind, you can now approach your students via whole group in a completely different way. So the more we know our students' needs, of course, right? That's very important. The more we can address them through our conversations, through our modeling, and through our whole group teaching. And you're going to find that these levels that we think we had are actually being filled up a lot faster because now I'm just looking at it as objectives and standards that I need to teach. I hope that helps. I kind of a different mindset shift for many of us, but I promise you, after working through that mind shift change, it will absolutely help in the long run. So I'd love to know in the comments below, which one did you resonate with more? Was I speaking your language on any of them where you're like, yeah, this is me. This is one of the reasons why reading is not my favorite. Or maybe reading is your favorite, but I still resonated with you on some of them. I'd love to know in the comments which one was yours. And what do you think for some of the solutions I gave? So I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts as we're kind of wrapping things up. So take some time, please, and comment below and let me know. So thank you so much for joining, and I hope this was helpful, and I will see you all soon. Bye.